Good afternoon, everyone. Rolf Wiche's new video, Seeing Our Near Future by Observing the Sun. He, in my opinion, is one of the expert forecasters on our planet moving forward with how the sun is going to affect our crops. It'll give you a glimpse out at least through the next 5 years of what's going to happen. And as an example, wheat is just going to continue to decline in production, in my own opinion. Here we go. Forecast down 12% from last year, lowest in 5 years. This is Europe and Black Sea. Weather woes mounting for European Union grain crop, losing almost 20%. I'm going to zoom in on some countries, Lithuania and Poland. Wheat prices domestically in the U.S. up anywhere from $16 to $24 a ton. Ending stocks are far below what they're telling you, but they're going to focus on soy and corn because there's a lot of that. But there's not a lot of oats, barley, and wheat. And as we move forward deeper into the grand solar minimum, you are absolutely going to need to start growing some of your own food. Sprouts, microgreens, or anything you can plant. The Adapt 2030 link for TrueLeafMarket.com, heirloom organic seeds, is below in the description box, as well as the links to tonight's images and stories. And also, the Tri-Weekly podcast, mini Ice Age conversations discussing these same issues in 30 minutes. You can take it on the road, you can go throughout your day, and still get the information feed on these issues that are going to begin to affect your life starting this harvest season. And you'll find in my playlist an interview that I did with Rolf Wiche in a roundtable with Trevor from Suspicious Observers last year. Rolf was also predicting crop losses this year and also declines in solar activity going out into the primer fields of our sun and solar wind diminishing. So this is what he has in part 4 of his Ice Age Science recapitulation series, Seeing Our Near Future by Observing the Sun. I watched the whole thing. Daily sunspot number overlaid with cosmic rays. We're going to see a lot of changes in a cloud cover and jet streams. He explains it really well. So if you want to get a glimpse in a crystal ball going out 5 years, check out that video. Linked below as well in the description box. But the main crux coming into the harvest season right now is there's so many things that you're seeing in the media. It's a bumper harvest, yet they're down. It's a great harvest, yet they're down 20%. And we're getting all these mixed reports at the same time. I think this is on purpose to confuse wheat and issue in the media, so I really wanted to delve into the facts because I get a lot of comments on the board in both directions with where the wheat and the grains are going on the planet. So let's focus in. I'm going to start with wheat and stay on wheat through this forecast. This is focusing on grain right now, tightening wheat supplies. Europe and Black Sea ripple through the global commodity markets. Now, I've been saying the more sensitive crops, such as oats and wheat, are going to be hit first as we go into the grand solar minimum. Others, such as soy and corn, are going to last much further in and they'll still have crops, as others are diminishing 10, 20, 30% in global yield. So forecast down 12% from last year. This is for the total EU, the lowest in 5 years. Now that just ripped apart what the Russian and Ukrainian production was on bumper crops last year. So it's already down. If they wouldn't have the bumper crops last year across Russia, this would be even down further. I'm going to bring you to the map here, some areas I'm going to focus on. You notice on the far left, they're right next to Germany in the colored countries. It starts first, Czech Republic, Poland, and a little further north, the blue, Lithuania, with Belarus and Ukraine over on the right there in the yellow. Now, Czech Republic, where have I heard this before? Oh yeah, I did a whole video series on this about the drought stones. See me cry. When it goes below a certain water level, they're in extreme drought in those areas. And before just-in-time delivery, massive famines accompany these droughts. So if Czech Republic's called the old Czech lands when we go back into the 1600s, had massive droughts affecting crops. Droughts don't stop at borders, they go across borders. So looking back into the droughts in the Czech lands, I had theorized that we're going to be rolling back and repeating something in the 1780 era in terms of intensity and how long it's going to last. In the blue box there, you can check that out in the playlist to see the full analysis of the droughts in the Czech lands. But back to that, right next to the bordering country, Poland. Of course they're going to be affected. Let's take a look at Poland publishing their official crop estimates. This is just a week ago. Wheat down 16%. Rye down 9%. Barley down 10%. And then I wanted to keep moving along here with Lithuania. The next country further north and to the east up there, the blue country that was next to Poland that you saw on the map. So now this is the winter grains. There's a difference between total grains and winter grains. Checking it out, those are massive drops. 39% on the far right over there. I circle it in blue, easy to find. Those are substantial losses coming down. Lithuania, 40% down. You're kidding me. That is an enormous amount. Now, when we look at the total production of grains by the entire year, wheat also down a full 28% over the year. So the winter grains would be the winter wheat, but in total for the entire grains throughout the year, spring wheat, etc., still down 28%, rye down 32%. Barley up a little bit, 6.8 up. But the total down a full 23%. So as we look through the weather woes mount for the European Union grain crop, I put a couple different boxes in there in different colorations to make it easier to find and jump into this needle in a haystack here. Yellow is the beginning and the ending stocks. So they're talking about millions of metric tons here. And again, when you go above 1,000 millions, it starts to get into these such large numbers that with all the zeros would be confusing. So they just knocked it down. You can see below, very bottom left there, talking thousands of hectares, thousands of millions of metric tons, etc. So when we take a look at the beginning stocks, we're up at around 14.3 million metric tons in the beginning stocks carryover. But then at the end, they're looking at around, what, 10 million? But then they revised that. That seems a little spooky when you're going to be losing that much in terms of percentage. So they lowered it to 13 million for the in the new post right there on the far right there. But that full blue box encapsulates this year. Anyway, I'll let you do your own analysis with this one and figure out what they're trying to do to stabilize and not spook markets. Anyway, moving on to the world agricultural supply-demand estimates. This is on August 10th. I know it's a month, but you know they're not giving any newer information coming out from the USDA. Wheat this month lower on the supplies, greater use and reduced stocks, meaning price up. So they're even saying in the very last paragraph there, projected 2018-9 ending stocks reducing 50 million bushels, down about 15%. So as you're cruising through the charts here, you're also going to need to take into consideration, is it millions of metric tons? Remember, the tonnage in America is different than it is in Europe. Are they talking bushels? And there's a whole bunch of different variances. So as you do jump through, take a look at the weighted averages, prices, and all these things, and you can get the forecast going out, really where they're losing and how much they're losing. And staying just in the U.S. wheat by class here, just above where it says beginning stocks 2017 in that first yellow bar, you'll see it says millions of bushels. So the beginning stocks there for hard red winter were at 589 million bushels. The beginning 581 for 2018-19, but look how it drops to 417 at the bottom there. So these are projections. I understand their projections going out of 2019, but I don't think they're taking into consideration really the intensification of the grand solar minimum. Like we're starting to see it now. I think these numbers are way high. It's my own opinion, but I think they're incredibly high coming in for next year already because we haven't come to the planting season. The wipeout of the canola crop and other crops up in Canada due to this unexpected freeze already. I'm still trying to bring you that report, but as we are already starting to see, if it repeats anything like last planting season and we get into more losses this harvest season, these numbers are going to just be out the window for sure. But the hard red spring, they're predicting a increase in that. Soft red winter declines from 215 million bushels down to 169. But here's the thing, total Durham white wheat, red, everything together, looking at about 1,181, but then it drops to 985. So even their forecast going out, everybody's showing declines into the future. Now, regardless of the amount of the decline, they're all showing declines. But in the news, they're saying, hey, record harvest, we're going to increase yield, we're going to increase area planted, yet everything you look at shows decreases for next year. So it's two things. They're trying to say both sides of it in the media. And if we take a look at the International Daily Freight on Board, FOB export bids coming out, look at that. Everything is up. I don't care if you're in Argentina, Australia, Black Sea, European Union, or U.S. All of it is up. All of it. Yet they're telling you it's a bumper harvest crop and prices are going to be stable and it's an awesome world we live in. I'm going to say even take a look at how much these wheat prices are increasing. Now, $16 a ton for the soft red winter, but then we look at hard red winter wheat. That's up $24 a ton, up to $254. That's nearly 10% increase. Those are staggering gains. You got to realize in the whole commodities grains futures game, this is a staggering price increase. Usually it moves slightly, but not this much. This is a flag for sure. Red flag right here. Something is definitely going in the opposite of the supply direction it should to push these prices. Now the media's, I'll tell you right away, they're going to start focusing on corn and soy because the corn and soy are having bumper crops. But culturally, wheat is a staple. Are you going to switch over your diet and suddenly have a 100% soy-based diet and go away from anything wheat? I highly doubt it. That will be the same with all the substitution crops. If rice gets too expensive, do you think people that eat rice as predominantly their main course for the day are just going to switch over to, let's say, sorghum and start eating that? There's going to be a lot of cultural issues in with this daily bread, if you will. But corn production up 356 million bushels. And of course, because production's up in corn, price is down. So again, the media is going to keep focusing on these types of grains. They're not going to touch the barley, the oats, or the wheat. They're going to exclusively focus in on corn and soy. So you can see how the narrative in the media is going to move as well to assure you that all these food price rises you're experiencing aren't because of rising grain prices. It's got to be something else. Could be a disease outbreak, tariff wars, whatever it is. They're trying to have you look left when you should be looking over here to the right to really see what's going on. And I thank you so much for watching the video. Hope you got something out of it. Try a weekly podcast. Take this on the road. Go through your day. You can get much more analysis. I have 104 episodes up there right now to choose from, including Rolf Witche's previous interview that we did with Trevor from Suspicious Observers. And if you'd like this in a blog format, steemit.com/adapt2030. You can take a look at all the charts I have right here.